So you join me today for the grand opening of PG&E's PowerHouse. This is going to be a newly opened facility that is part lab, part experimental partnership with places like SPAN and Tesla, GM Energy, to bring to consumers the type of electrical savings that they have often partnered with industry on. So today we're going to take a tour to see all of what they've been working on and get a peek behind the curtain of what PG&E does that we never get to see. Join me inside. We're going to talk to PG&E, hear from some industry experts, and get to see a little bit about what the future electrified home might look like.
Clean energy. All right.
Guys, I'm here at the PG&E PowerHouse, and I am lucky enough to be joined with Arch from SPAN Panels, and we are going to talk a little bit about their awesome product that we learned about today. Arch, thanks for spending a little bit of time, and tell us about these amazing panels. You guys have one of my favorite products, but I wanted to hear straight from the CEO and founder. Tell us about what we've got today.
Thanks, Chris. As you and your viewers probably know, we've had smart panels in the market now for nearly 5 years. Over the last 3 years, we've been deploying products to make it easier for consumers to electrify with SPAN's Power Up capabilities, where we can ensure that your home stays within a safe operating limit while continuing to add new electric loads like EV charging, heat pumps, and water heaters. This is a natural evolution of that product. This is SPAN Edge, which is designed to be installed by the utility meter technician in about 15 minutes or so, paired with a collar that we've designed that parallelizes power coming into your home, into the panel. Unlike the larger version of the panel, this starts with 8 circuits, so it's a very cost-effective way to start your electrification journey. And the goal seek for us here is that this product is offered to you by the utility at no cost to the customer. So this has a 200 amp bus built into it. You can start with about any number of electric loads, your EV charging, your heat pumps, your water heaters, your induction cooktops, and avoid a very, very expensive upgrade to your service. And also keep your existing panel as it is. You don't have to upgrade your panel in your home either.
And I think that's the big one, because so many panels are only 100 amp panels. I think PG&E was saying 50% of them are 100 amp panels. And with EV charging, things as simple as the Cybertruck, or in my case, the Lightning, we have a Model Y, a lot of 2 EV households where they're trying to do these things. How will this handle that when you've got things like air conditioning, or you're cooking dinner and then you're trying to charge a vehicle? What will that be doing dynamically with the load?
That's a great question. So the panel is designed to be functionally safe. So that's kind of important to underscore, right? There's no scenario where the panel will import or export more power than the system is designed for. So it always ensures that both your home and the grid is protected. But going beyond that, we've always been big on software-driven customer experience. The panel talks to our charger. In the future, it'll talk to most chargers, where we can throttle the EV charger. We can talk over Wi-Fi built to the access point in our panel, or Matter to thermostats, to CTA 2045 enabled water heaters, where we can also change the state and set point of those devices in your home. So think about a customer experience where you come in and plug multiple devices at once, including plugging in your home EV charger. The panel will look for how much headroom it has available in the home in a 100 amp service, and it will regulate the different loads as needed. But as you can imagine, you very rarely turn all of your appliances on at the same time, so the customer experience is almost imperceptible.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let you carry on, guys. We are going to check out what else we have in the PowerHouse. Let's check out what else is inside. So you join me here in the Test Lab home. This is going to serve as a test bed for products, and there's a few here I wanted to point out that we learned about. This is one of the cooler things that I've seen, because so much of this technology often applies to only folks that can afford things like EVs or power walls, and maybe that is, I don't know, 40% of the market. But this is one of the products that I thought was super cool. This is an off-grid backup battery that is small enough and will be affordable enough that a lot more of consumers can purchase it. It'll be available on Amazon, and it can be used for people that live in apartments and townhomes and places where a lot of this backup information or power wasn't really available or accessible. And they're going to work with PG&E and see if there's different rebates and programs and things. And this is a perfect example of what we need to see more of, where the PG&E program is going to be testing this, where it will plug into your outlet, and then the refrigerator will plug into this backup battery. So when power goes out, this refrigerator will stay powered. And this can go for up to a day and a half, 2 days maybe, depending on the refrigerator and how energy efficient it is. But you can also see this for things like emergency medical backup power for folks that have medical devices in their homes. This could be a huge win for that type of things for apartment users. Also, when you leave your apartment or move, this just unplugs and moves with you. It's not stuck with an electrician wiring it to your house. So great product, and this is one example. There's another example of it right here that we saw next to the couch. Very portable, very easy to move. So I thought that was a great example there. You can also see things in the home like this induction cooktop. So these, again, very energy efficient, different things that they do to make these basically save you money instead of using natural gas. They're also testing things like this washer and dryer. These are going to be energy efficient units that, again, go a long way towards saving money in the home. Of course, there's things like energy efficient dishwashers. We know that these things can take a lot of power, especially when they're trying to heat up the water to get good dishwashing action. These things are going to take a lot of power. There's also things like these more energy efficient air conditioner registers that are much more energy efficient than a whole house air conditioner. So a number of different devices that they're going to be testing here. One of the cool things that we saw is the Tesla Cybertruck being used for vehicle to home, and they were able to take and power this entire house and demonstrate that. Let's check that out.
Paul. Hi everyone. Yeah, as Paul mentioned, my name's Eli. I'm on the clean energy transportation team here at PG&E. And I'm here with Victor from Tesla, who's an expert in their power share system. We want to talk to you today about V2H and V2G and the AC product that Tesla's bringing to market. So what we're really excited about is at PG&E, we're partnering with Tesla to enable a first of its kind AC V2G based virtual power plant. So basically what this means is you can use your electric vehicle to help support grid function and get paid for it. What's really cool about what Tesla's doing is they're taking an AC technology pathway. So they're utilizing the inverter that already exists on the vehicle to transfer power from DC current to AC current and send it back onto the grid. And this is as opposed to using an inverter that's mounted to the wall to do the same functionality. The reason that's exciting and important and that anyone should care about it is because it saves you a lot of money. So these DC-based systems can run anywhere from 10 to 15,000, even 20,000 for the cost of hardware plus installation. The Tesla system, the hardware costs around $2,000, and then we might be looking at another $2,000 additionally for installation costs. So an entire order of magnitude less in cost, and really driving towards this future where everyone can utilize their EV in a bidirectional capacity and provide power to their home and also to the grid. What's even more exciting is we've also signed a deal with Tesla for Tesla customers to participate in our V2X pilots program. The pilots program are exciting for us as PG&E. We get to learn all these cool things about bidirectional charging, but also it's really exciting for the customer because we offer up to $4,500 in rebates for charging hardware. So if you've been paying attention, this system costs about $4,000 and you can get $4,500 from us, the utility for it. So basically you can get one of these things for free in your home. And then on top of that, you can start earning revenue by participating in our virtual power plant programs, such as ELRP and other offerings that we're working on in the future. And you can earn up to $600 per year, maybe even potentially more in some cases. So you get a free charger and then you're making money on top of that, which is really, really awesome. And what's exciting about that is obviously we like it because we get grid support, but it's also a solution for bringing down the total cost of ownership for electric vehicles, right? So if we can start paying customers to own electric vehicles, it's kind of another piece in that equation of how do we make the electrification decision of ICE versus EV an easy decision to choose the electric vehicle in the future. So yeah, we're really excited. This is the lead product, and we expect to see AC V2X and V2G on a lot more future products from Tesla and other OEMs. And then Victor's going to talk a little bit about the system here and kind of Tesla's plans for.
Thank you so much. Victor Coelho with Tesla. Give you a little background on our product. So 99% of people that have a Tesla already have our charger. They already have our wall connector at home. We utilize the universal wall connector for power share, and we utilize a gateway. This is our islanding device to make sure we don't backfeed the grid in an outage or any mistake opportunity that may happen. And as he mentioned with the cost, the way that we keep this cost down is you already own the vehicle. You're in the market for an EV. Right now, Cybertruck is the flagship vehicle that does power share. Our goal is the whole fleet will be doing power share at one day. And we're going to roll this out to all IOUs, ERCOT programs, every utility. We want to be nationwide because the vehicles are already there. Cybertruck, just to give you an idea, roughly 9 power walls worth of storage sitting in your driveway. If you average that cost out on buying power walls independently, it starts to pencil out a lot better if you already have the vehicle. So you could get your foot in the door to energy as an EV owner a lot cheaper, a lot easier going to the V2G or the V2H program. So right now we're rolling out Texas, California, and we're very happy to be here. Very happy to show it actually live in action. We worked pretty tirelessly on it to get it up and running through text messages and all that stuff. So yeah, whenever we want to switch it over and go from there.
So I guess it's exciting that you all are looking at me in the vehicle, but I guess I would ask you to turn your attention to the building and look inside and look at the lights and the fan. And we're going to have Al cut the power here, and we should see the backup. So Al, if you want to go ahead and disconnect the home. All right. And did you see that? So the overhead lights, the floor lamp never went out, but the overhead lights cut out for a second there and then came back on. And so that's the system working instantaneously. That would be the same experience you would have in a power outage. And that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Is it's simple and it provides you this home backup. And then also it can provide you a way of making money, while you're on your vehicle.
So guys, if you've seen my previous videos with PG&E and adding a second power wall recently, you'll know that I have been critical about the electrical rates in this area of Northern California and just how much it costs to power the homes and how important it is to use solar and backup batteries. In my case, I use Tesla. Well, to PG&E's credit, they've invited me here to the powerhouse. I've got Chris and Paul with me. They are going to talk about this amazing infrastructure and the way they're using it and talk a little bit about my criticisms. So, hey, kudos to them for agreeing to do this and inviting me today. Let me introduce you to Chris and Paul. Thank you guys for being so generous with your time and being good sports about some of my criticism in the past. What better way to do it right here in front of one of these Tesla packs? This is, I believe, one of the first ones that they ever did. Let's start with kind of today's activities, and then we'll kind of transition into that.
Thank you, Chris. This is awesome. My name is Paul Doherty. I'm with the communications team at PG&E, and we are so excited that you are here today to showcase this for your listeners and viewers, Chris. This is our launch of our all-electric home here in San Ramon at our Applied Technology Services Center. This is PG&E's technology lab. It functions much like a national laboratory, so it's a very, very unique facility for a utility to have, right? So what we built today is to actually make the experience more consumer focused. So meeting our customers where they're at in their homes, they're putting in heat pumps, they're adopting EV chargers, they're looking at bidirectional technology, looking at battery storage and solar. So we said, how can we bring all these technologies together and make them work together, bringing in some of our partners to showcase how can we lower the costs for our customers, both who are looking to electrify, and how can PG&E save money in terms of upgrading our grid to enable widespread electrification. So today was the launch of this event, and Chris will tell us a little more about some of the partnerships that we have here.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. So Chris Morris, Chief Grid Architect at PG&E. Today, just a quick recap of what we showed was first on the home side, Charge Boost and Panel Boost. These are new products we're bringing this summer. Charge Boost enables an Emporia EV charger and in the future ChargePoint EV charger to connect directly to the smart meter using Wi-Fi for the purposes of avoiding that panel upgrade and that service upgrade. So with the cost of just the EV charger, you can get 11.5 kilowatt EV charging on a 100 amp panel and completely avoid the panel upgrade. Panel Boost working with SPAN. That's a SPAN Edge device, which also communicates to the meter, and that allows you to connect to anything. So we'll be rolling that out this summer. And then we also showed Tesla V2G AC, taking the cost of vehicle to grid from $20,000 down to $3,000. So with Cybertruck, we showed that, and Tesla mentioned that that's going to be coming to all of their vehicles. So really breakthrough capability there. And the last but not least, again, focusing first on the home, but what we showed inside was how that all connects back to the smart meter and to the electric grid so that can all work together.
we see all of these resources and we think that, you know, we've got all of the windmills and the solar, but the rates are still so high. Where does that happen? What causes them to be so much higher here than we might see in other parts of the country where, you know, they're getting basically driving for, you know, $5, but, you know, we're paying $35. What can you kind of educate us on?
Yeah, let's have Paul kick it off on the wildfire side, and then I'll cover some of the home electrification.
We've had to de-risk our system from wildfire over the last several years. We saw what happened, the wildfires 2017 and 18. We've made a stand that catastrophic wildfires shall stop. And so that's been a top priority of our company, is to make sure that we never have a repeat of those events that took place in that time frame. And so in many ways, a lot of the costs that we're seeing over the last 5 years or so have been related to de-risking our system and building wildfire mitigation capabilities. So things like enhanced power line safety settings, public safety power shutoffs, new grid devices that help us understand the operations even at a more granular level. So we're integrating new technology. We have new operational mitigations that help bring those wildfires to zero from PG&E equipment and really from any equipment that could create a catastrophic fire. So I think that over the last couple of years, we've made a concerted effort to bring rates down. We've had 5 rate decreases since January of 2025. And we are continuing on that trajectory, and we're committed to doing that to ensure that we can bring our rates as low as possible and make them affordable for our customers. But what we're trying to do here is allow our customers to electrify while our whole rate base, all of our customers, can see their rates come down. We see in a future where widespread electrification actually helps drive down the distribution portion of our rates. And by pushing more electrons through and by enabling a greater utilization of our grid, we can bring costs down.
What we showcased today around customers getting electric vehicles and electrification, when you get a 200 amp panel upgrade, it's not just the panel that's upgraded. We have to look at the wires behind it, back to down the poles, the transformer on the poles. And replacing one of those transformers and doing all that engineering work can easily be $50,000 or $60,000.
Sometimes I know there's trenching involved also,
Yeah, right.
that you can't always just replace the panel.
So what you're seeing today that we presented was, well, okay, we can give you an EV charger or give you a span panel and coordinate it with the meter and the grid. And then you're going to save money on the panel upgrade. And we're not going to have to go spend and socialize that $50,000 to $60,000 upgrade. We have 700,000 service transformers across our territory. So if you imagine replacing even a handful of 700,000 transformers at $50,000 to $60,000 a pop, you can see how those costs balloon immediately. And like, where do those costs show up? They show up in the rates. So electric vehicles, decarbonization, there's huge potential, huge promise, but it needs to be coordinated with the grid for us to see those electric savings. And that's what we're doing here today.
I think I want to close out with this question. It might be a little bit out of scope for what today's topic was, but I know I've got a lot of folks with the EV topic, and it's not just the home charging, which is a big one, but as we electrify homes like we talked about today, and not just the EVs, but the entire home being electrified, and then you look at DC fast charging expanding, things like Iona is starting to expand here in the Bay Area, Walmarts are doing it, Tesla is always expanding. That's a big load. And then of course you've got the AI data centers, that's a big load. How does PG&E look at that when you're talking about having to bring in and have more capability to, I would imagine the electrified home is probably a small bit of that demand when you're talking about DC fast charging and data centers. The home is probably the smallest part of that. Am I wrong? Or
I think what we really want to impart is it's an interconnected system. All of it has to work together. And I would say up until now, the utility industry as a whole has been a lot more arm's length from consumers in the home space. And so by bringing them in, they're part of that puzzle. But you're right, the data centers, transmission connected, megapacks, superchargers, all of that is part of the solution. And we do have solutions like Flex Connect is our solution that enables DC fast chargers. So working with Tesla and other DC fast chargers, we actually send them a substation signal so they can modulate the output of the DC fast charger with the grid that we have while we're building out an upgrade for the substation. So it's a way that those electric revenues can come on to help deal with rates. We can electrify them immediately so they benefit. And then we can do the upgrade as it's needed once that money is flowing in, so you have the least rate impact for the customer. So I think that's one example. I don't know if you want to say anything more.
I just would say that we're living through one of the most prolific eras of load growth in the history of our country, largely due to electrification, electric vehicles, onshoring of manufacturing, data center growth. And PG&E is taking a concerted focus on how do we enable this future that's electrified, that has compute power, especially here in California, right? We are the home of Silicon Valley and, large internet exchange points in Silicon Valley for data centers for a long time. So Flex Connect is actually a very novel solution that many other utilities are now looking at. And what it is a flexible service connection. What does that mean? In layman's terms, that means that you want 5 megawatts of power for this Tesla charging site. Well, the grid's constrained and we can only give you 1 megawatt. So, you have to wait for a grid upgrade. Sorry, not anymore. By agreeing to flex your load, meaning, okay, say you have 20 chargers at that Tesla site on the hottest day of the summer, peak demand, right, on the grid, air conditioning's on across the state. If that facility can essentially take 2 or 3 of those chargers off for 1 day out of the year, they can get connected tomorrow, right? We can get them connected, and then they can have that full load almost year round, except for those times where we say, hey, there might be a grid strain. We need you to modulate that load, take a couple of those chargers off. So it's a really good example. We're also using that with batteries, like grid scale batteries, to help soak up more solar generation where there's maybe an overproduction, like in areas like in Bakersfield. And we're seeing fleets use the same service where a fleet says, hey, I want to electrify. I want to bring in, Tesla semi-trucks, but there's not the capacity at that location today. So through a system like Flex Connect, we're able to provide them with the power immediately, as long as they can be flexible with those loads. Now, we're also exploring how can we apply that flexible service connection model to larger loads like data centers.
Yeah.
Right. And leverage some of the backup generation that they already have on site to run more often, potentially, during those periods of peak demand that allows PG&E not to have to make more significant grid upgrades and allows that customer to come online sooner. So, we definitely see the opportunity from the transmission down to substation distribution, all the way into customers' homes for opportunities for cost savings and to build resiliency.
There was a DC fast charging site where, Tesla was looking for 3.8 megawatts, and we didn't have it. We had something like 400, 500 kilowatts. So that would be the difference of whether or not you would build there at all. But it turns out that by coordinating that with the substation, we could offer the full 3.8 megawatts for 97% of the year. So there's 3% of the year that you're going to be a little bit below 3.8 megawatts, but you'll still be able to run the site, et cetera. So it's examples like that where we're working really hard to get more out of the system we have while we improve it and enable it. And we believe that's what's going to lead to lowering rates.
That's awesome. Guys, I appreciate the time. This is going to be a great day today. And for the viewers, it's going to be a real kind of peek behind the curtain of what you guys do that, they just know they flip the switch and the power comes on. But this kind of stuff that you guys do day to day behind the scenes, nobody really gets to see. So appreciate you inviting us to come out and take a look today.
Cool. Take care. Thank you.
That's going to wrap it up here from the PG&E PowerHouse. It was a great day getting to meet Arch from Span, getting to check out the Cybertruck, which of course we've seen before, but I've never been able to see the actual function of it, seeing it do the vehicle to home. So that was really awesome. Just getting to talk to the folks at PG&E was cool, and to see what they're going to be doing here, transforming the way that they experiment and test out things for the electric home. Having an electric home myself, these are the types of things that we need to do more of. And as we energize and electrify the future, it's really important that we be able to do this in a way that makes sense and is cost effective for consumers. So much of what we've done to date has been expensive, and so some of what I saw today even is going to work for apartments and people that are not always traditionally been able to benefit from some of the stuff that we've seen. So I'm excited about what I've seen. They're going to invite me back for some other things in the future, so that's going to be great. And we're going to try to get some of these folks on the podcast. So Thanks again. If you like this kind of stuff, don't forget, like and subscribe, and then hype this up if you're on mobile. All that stuff helps other people see it. Thank you again, and we'll see you on the next one.